Hey guys, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we are talking about our coronavirus news for Thursday, March 26, 2020, and we only talk about tech news and cybersecurity as it relates to the coronavirus. And I have to say, 3 out of these 4 articles that I'm going to be talking about here are actually really good news. And so let's rip that Band-Aid off and start with the bad news first. And for that, we are talking about reporting from The Sun. Now, according to them, a coronavirus outbreak has hit at least 6 Amazon warehouses here in the continental United States. Cases have broken out in New York City, Shepherdsville, Kentucky, as well as Jacksonville, Florida, and Katy, Texas. Also, there have been cases in Browntown, Michigan, and Oklahoma City. Now, responses appear to be varying from warehouse to warehouse. Some facilities are closing down for cleaning as fast as they can to reopen. Others have basically told the employees that were in proximity to those that were infected to basically go home and self-quarantine. And on Tuesday, news of a positive test was shared with a small group of supervisors at the Staten Island, New York facility, and this is according to the New York Post. Now, that Staten Island facility is remaining open, although the staff exactly isn't happy about this. And according to Chris Smalls, a management assistant at the facility, and I quote, "They don't have people's best interests in mind. It's irresponsible and inhumane to have us keep working there. We're going to be a second wave of the outbreak. I understand we're essential to our communities, but we're not helping out the community if we're carrying the virus." And he's actually got a really good point there that I think is, somewhat debatable. Amazon, hands down, is the largest supplier, distributor of pretty much anything from tchotchkes to critical infrastructure that we can order online. And if they go down, we have a very serious supply chain problem here in the continental United States. And so it behooves us to keep these up and running. But at the same token, according to Mr. Smalls here, and he's absolutely right, we don't want to basically have a second wave because we are not putting in good working conditions for these workers that basically have to work to keep productivity flowing and especially stuff flowing to hospitals here in the United States. And so what are we going to do with that? I think that's a very important question that needs to be tackled immediately, and I hope that Amazon is on that to protect those workers, because if their workforce goes down, we have some very, very serious problems here in the United States, as I'm sure elsewhere in the world. It also heavily relies on Amazon, as they are massive. Moving on, now we're going to good news, and this is from TechCrunch, and we're talking about Elon Musk, because he said on Wednesday that the company's factory in Buffalo, New York, will open as soon as humanly possible, basically to produce ventilators that are in short supply due to, obviously, this pandemic. And so according to Elon Musk's tweet, and I quote, "Giga New York will reopen for ventilator production as soon as humanly possible. We will do anything in our power to help the citizens of New York." Now, last week, Tesla, which is one of Elon Musk's companies, said in a statement that it would suspend production at its Fremont, California facility where it assembles its cars. Although I'm not going to let them off the hook here, like I think TechCrunch did, because that took an act of the Alameda County Sheriff to do that because they did not want to shutter that down. They had also said that they were going to be shuttering the New York, or they were going to be suspending production at the Gigafactory in Buffalo, New York, but that is obviously a reversal per Elon Musk's tweet on Wednesday. So I think that's really good news, and hopefully they're going to get those ventilators out, not just to New York, but to the rest of the United States and the rest of the world, as the world is soon to be, I think, in short supply. We can look at Italy for that, and that is absolutely horrific. More good news, though, and this is reporting from Extreme Tech, who has an article entitled "MIT develops cheap open source ventilator for coronavirus treatment." Now, here's what's going on. A team at MIT developed an open source ventilator called the MIT eVent that could actually get FDA regulatory approval soon. Now, the eVent is based on a project that was started almost a decade ago as part of the MIT Precision Machine Design course. Now, unlike expensive mechanical ventilators at hospitals, this is actually manual, and it was designed to be used in rural areas or developing nations or places where emergency equipment was needed and power may not necessarily be steady. And so I think that's very interesting. But here's what they're doing. When they actually did this work about a decade ago, they estimated the device would cost about $100 to build, which is significantly lower than an actual mechanical ventilator, which we know can cost tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how big and sophisticated it is. And so the current team isn't just reviving the existing design, they're starting to make modifications to ensure that the device would be easy to make as well as operate, and they're also developing a new metal frame to improve its durability. But a $100 manual ventilator, especially if we have an emergency situation, may be something that is basically going to save a life. And I think that is really awesome news. And finally, I want to give you guys an update for my video yesterday. And thank you all for watching that video on the COVID-19 Cyber Threat Coalition, or CCTC, as its acronym. We are continuing to gather members. We are continuing to spin up. We have had a great influx of companies and cybersecurity personnel from all walks basically come together to help protect the planet, to help protect these hospitals and critical infrastructure. There are a ton of organizations that are being represented here, and there's no way I can name them in all one setting here, but if we are looking at this, we've got companies like Avast and Sophos, Black Knight out of Ireland, Lastline, Amro Bank, Threat Connect, and a ton more that are now sharing real-time data, telemetry, and information in real time. The indicators of compromise is something that people have been happily sharing, between these as these various companies detect threat and as other independent researchers are. And it's great to see this company coming together. And we have a great start to this, because we now have some proof in the pudding here. And, we have a few hours ago, from me actually recording this video, there was basically a listing for real-time threat intelligence and indicators of compromise that basically identified public IP addresses and threats coming against hospitals for basically advanced ransomware. And so in that threat intelligence, we are actually able to see what those files look like, what those addresses they may be coming from look like, what those IP addresses they may be coming from look like. And that is real-time evidence that a company like mine or a company like yours can take and start defending itself with. So this is why we are doing this. This is the line in the sand that we continue to draw, and we continue to ensure the hackers won't cross, the criminal hackers, won't cross. So with that, we are all in this together. And if you didn't hear about it, please go see my other video. You can sign up if you're in cybersecurity as well. Or if you just want to get the word out, you can share that video from yesterday, or you can share this one too. I'm more than happy to do that. But we are continuing to make progress, and we are continuing to defend the planet. And that is a pretty amazing thing to end on. And so that is your Corona Tech Virus news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.